My name is Gary Hogsett. I'm the president of AEE for 2012. It's a great honor to serve in this position as your president. We have a fantastic conference and expo for you the next couple days, and it looks like a perfect day to be in Atlantic City. One of the greatest honors in this position is getting to work with Al Thumann. I'm sure most of you know Al or know of Al. When I started to college back in the early 70s, I dreamed of someday looking out my window and seeing photovoltaic panels on the roofs and wind energy in the background. That's exactly what I saw when I woke up this morning and looked out my window there at the Sheraton. The roof's all covered with photovoltaics and the wind turbines turning in the background. And in my opinion, there's nobody around that's got more to do with that happening than Al Thumann. Al gave up his job with Bechtel 35 years ago. He said, we need to have an association of energy engineers to promote this field and this career. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce Al Thumann. Al?
Boy, isn't it hard to believe that I've been doing this for 35 years and you guys have been listening? I'm telling you that. You know, you look around the room, there's a lot of people with gray hair. And you know, we did a little study on our members, and about 35% of you guys are going to retire in the next 10 years, you know? And that brings about a real challenge for the energy engineering profession, because it means that we have to mentor, we have to bring on new people to take the roles of many of you out here. Now, I know that you're all not replaceable, but through our Council of Women in Energy and Environmental Leadership, CWEO, we've started a program to mentor women to get in the field of energy. We now have 3 colleges, first in the United States, that have set up undergraduate energy engineering curriculums. And you know, one of the things I'm really proud of is that through our foundation, we've awarded over $600,000 in scholarships. And that's a good way to get students motivated to take energy engineering courses. Now, with our 35th anniversary, we're really starting it now, and it culminates at our World Energy Engineering Congress, and hopefully we'll see each and every one of you there in Atlanta, where we were founded 35 years ago. The industry has really, really changed. You know, in 1981, we came up with the idea that there should be a certification program for energy managers. The Energy Manager Program was born. How many of you are certified energy managers? Raise your hand. You know, if anything we've done to the industry, we've created a benchmark of excellence. And when I go around the world, and we have a Spanish version of the CM program, the State Department asked us to create an Arabic version for Iraqi engineers. In French-speaking Quebec, we have a French version of the program. The CM is growing not only here in the United States, but around the world. And with over 10,000. And you know, you probably see a lot of fly-by-nights saying, you know, come to our organization and get certified. Well, I don't think anyone can boast that with all our programs, we have over 20,000. So when you get that credential, it really means something. And we encourage you to keep it and maintain it, because it's a value that will continue to grow as more companies require CEMs. We've been very lucky and fortunate to be selected by the Department of Energy just about 2 weeks ago to be an official training partner with Georgia Tech on the new Superior Energy Performance Program. We also won 2 awards from the Department of Energy to create a high-level program, the master's level in energy auditing, training and certification, and the master's level in building commissioning. So the AE is really in the forefront. And if you're not a member, during our 35th anniversary year, you go to our membership booth, it's 50% off. And you know, with 15,000 strong, we're probably the fastest growing professional association in the world. And with our training and certification, there's no question we're #1. And I want you to feel to be part of the family of AEE. Thank you so much for coming to Globalcon 2012.
Thank you, Alan. I forgot to mention before, we do, to raise money for our scholarship fund, we have a $500 fine if your cell phone goes off during this session, by the way. So we have proctors around the area that'll be looking for that, listening for that. I'd like to introduce our first speaker for this morning, Eric Dominguez. Eric, where are you, Eric? Let me see. Okay, come on up, Eric. Eric earned his BS in Mechanical Engineering from Cornell University and an MBA from the University of Nevada at Las Vegas. He's also one of the few civilians to have completed the U.S. Navy's nuclear power school. I didn't know you could do that as a civilian. He has more than 18 years of diverse energy experience in both the public and private sectors. He joined Caesars Entertainment in 2005 as their corporate director for energy and environmental services. His primary responsibilities include implementing energy efficiency and conservation projects across more than 50 million square feet of hotel, casino, restaurant, and entertainment space, managing wholesale energy risk and procurement of natural gas and electricity in deregulated markets, and ensuring environmental compliance associated with the Clean Air and Water Acts. Eric was instrumental in developing and implementing a comprehensive sustainability strategy at Caesars and initiated the certification of their first green building project. Please join me in welcoming Eric Dominguez.
Thank you and good morning. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. And I'm going to speak a little bit today about the energy programs at Caesars Entertainment. But I'm going to do so in the context of a broader sustainability program. If you want to get your CFO's attention, you talk energy and energy savings. If you want to get the CEO's attention, you need to put energy in a broader context into a bigger picture type program. And that's what we've done at Caesars. So just to give you a brief intro to what I'm going to discuss over the next 25 minutes or so, I'm going to talk a little bit about Caesars Entertainment and introduce you to the company. I'm going to talk about why sustainability is important to a company that's really in the business of fun. And then I'm going to go over our strategy and maybe give you some tips that you may be able to take back to your businesses and potentially implement. So a little about Caesars. You've probably heard of the brand. We are in the entertainment business. We have 52 properties worldwide in 7 countries. We have a pretty solid domestic presence. We have over 42,000 hotel rooms across the world, over 70,000 employees, and about 50 million square feet of conditioned space. So a pretty good sized footprint. Last year we did about $8.5 billion worth of revenue, about $2.1 billion in EBITDA. And we have some really world-renowned brands, including Caesars, Harrah's, Horseshoe, the World Series of Poker, and one of the industry's leading total rewards programs or customer loyalty programs called Total Rewards. We also have a presence here in New Jersey, so if you guys get a break and have some free time, head over to the Pier at Caesars for some dinner if you like. Beautiful shopping over there, excellent gaming at Bally's. If you're in the mood for some music, we've got the House of Blues over at Showboat. And if you're into the night scene, the pool at Harrah's is one of the top nightclubs in the country. It's a pretty amazing venue, so that's the commercial on Caesars. So why does sustainability matter for a company that's in the entertainment business? It really starts with our code of commitment, our corporate ethos, which is a really guiding principle for the way we conduct business. It's a commitment to our employees to provide them with an environment that allows them to excel. It's a commitment to our guests to promote responsible gaming. It's a commitment to our communities to ensure that we're creating vibrant places for our employees to live and work. And most recently, we added a 4th pillar, which is a commitment to the environment. And I think this speaks to the level of commitment that we have at Caesars from the C-suite down to the front line of how important sustainability is, not just for the short term, but for the long term. Our CEO, I meet with quarterly to update him on our progress, and he at one meeting mentioned that sustainability is really something that's exciting and something that in business is rare. He said, you probably picked this up because he's a pretty smart guy, he used to teach at Harvard, but he said it's a virtuous cycle where a few opportunities in business you can actually excite your employees, delight your guests, do right by the communities, and drive some solid returns to the bottom line. And because of this virtuous nature of sustainability, irrespective of what you call it, I think it's here for the long haul. Whether you call it green, whether you call it efficiency, whatever you want to term it, it's smart business, and it's something we should all be focused on. There are many, many reasons why we're focused. I listed a couple here that came to mind when I was putting my slides together. You know, you definitely can drive value, both brand value, bottom line value. It's EBITDA enhancing, it's multiple enhancing. It drives employee retention. Employees are proud to be part of an organization where they can do things that they actually believe in. Our guests, you know, believe that it's very important, especially some of our younger generation. So there's a lot of good reasons to do it. And I think really it should be a focus of most businesses these days. So just some statistics. We go out and survey our guests on a lot of things, and we started asking them questions about our sustainability effort. And this slide shows that when people learn a little bit about what we're doing, that they actually respond very favorably, and actually increases their view of Caesars. And this is empirical evidence of increasing brand value right there. And in terms of employees, we go out with an annual employee opinion survey, and year after year, the scores of the types of programs that we have are very, very high for our Code Green effort. And for the CFOs and finance folks in the rooms, which are probably far and few between in an energy conference, but I'm sure some of you guys have had business courses, projects drive solid returns. Energy is core to our sustainability effort. I won't lie about that. We've completed hundreds and hundreds of projects, and the internal rates of returns of those projects are quite phenomenal. They've averaged over 20%, which is not easy to do. So, strategy at Caesars, right? Hopefully I've communicated that it's important to us. I'm going to talk a little bit about our strategy. There's no pixie dust on this screen. The strategy is pretty straightforward. We look at our core impacts and focus on those impacts. We obviously have an energy footprint, so we focus on energy. We have a water footprint, so we focus on water. We look at waste and carbon. Those are the four big areas of focus, and we try to develop our programs that are going to target those core environmental impacts. What's different about our program than most is the fact that we put employees front and center, though. We've engaged employees, we've established green teams at every property. We have leaders of these teams, and we give the properties and the teams the flexibility to go out and do things that are meaningful in their local communities, in their environments. We've also used sustainability as really a platform for innovation. You can drive a tremendous amount of value through a program like this, especially when it's something that the employees are engaged with. We focus on the 3 Ps, people, planet, profit, and use that as a guiding principle to prioritize where we focus efforts. And we basically, like most good businesses would do, set goals and measure progress and reward. So I'm going to pause on this slide for a bit because this is an energy conference. I'm going to talk a little bit about the core energy program for Caesars. So we've, over the last decade, invested a lot in energy efficiency. We, as I mentioned, have 50 million square feet of conditioned space. Our annual utility bills are about $200 million across the organization. And I'd say probably 65% of that is electricity related. So we've looked at that and tried to do what we can to improve efficiencies, and we've done a lot. You can imagine that we have a lot of lights in our industry, and we focus on changing lights out, literally millions and millions of lights. We've gone from incandescent and high-intensity discharge type lamps to fluorescent, to compact fluorescent, to cold cathode, and now we're moving into LED strategically. There's a lot of LED junk on the market. I'll just call it junk because it's the Wild West right now in that market, but you got to be careful. But we found applications that make a lot of sense today. And as an example, just looking at MR16s, we're replacing this year over 70,000 halogen MR16s across the board. And that's just focusing on one type of application where you can replace a lamp with an LED alternative, where you don't need the light source as a primary light source because the designers love to use them in applications where they're just decorative in nature. And we're able to cut energy expenses to the tune of about $1.5 million with that effort. And if you factor in operating costs from a maintenance and materials perspective, you can double that. So focusing on one lamp type and scaling it across the board can have a pretty big impact. And for the environmentalist in you, if you look at the upstream impact, there's a significant amount of carbon that's reduced when you're saving 15 million kilowatt hours of energy a year. So it's very positive. We've done a lot with variable frequency drives. I think anybody that has a variable type flow in their buildings, whether it be air handlers or pumping, is use drives. One of my lead energy engineers would caution you not to throw a drive on everything. If you've got a multi-chiller plant, you don't need drives on every compressor. You can stage those chillers and obtain the efficiency out of them. And if you guys have taken Al's course and gotten CEM, as many of you have, you don't need to worry about the demand spike that you get when you're starting up a chiller, as some people will try to claim as a benefit. Because it's averaged over 15 minutes, you really don't see that spike. So we've looked for applications where they make sense, cooling towers, variable primary type pumping applications, air handlers, VAV control, and we put VFDs in those applications. We've done some heat recovery from our boiler stacks, where we have a pretty solid heating demand, even in Vegas, throughout the year, and we've put heat recovery units on the stacks to recapture the heat and use that for domestic preheating of domestic water. We've done things like Might Heat and Power at a couple of our properties. We have a 5 megawatt installation, gas-fired reciprocating engines in Vegas at our Rio Hotel. We have a 1.5 megawatt installation up in Lake Tahoe, and obviously generate electricity on site and recapture the waste heat for domestic water heating. We've done a lot in the control space, guest room controls, heating and ventilation controls, kitchen hood fan controls. We've looked at some unique applications. Here in Atlantic City, we have a steam turbine over at Showboat, where we had a high pressure steam system, and we took the pressure reducing valve off and put a small 450 kilowatt turbine on the steam system and use that to reduce pressure and generate electricity as a byproduct. We've done stuff outside of the energy space. We've got recycling bins at all of our properties, but the bulk of our recycling is done in the back of the house on the loading docks, where we have MRFs, or material recycling facilities, on site, where we're sorting trash and collecting the recyclables, collecting assets that are thrown away and reclaiming those. You may be thinking, well, what's so cool about that? Well, for one, you're doing right by the environment. For two, you're diverting a pretty significant amount of waste that's going to the landfill, and you don't have to pay tipping fees on that diverted waste, so there's an economic value there. And for three, some of those recyclables have value. So aluminums and cardboards, you have rebates and you get the cash flow back from that effort. So just an example, another example of how sustainability can hit the 3 Ps and do right in a lot of different senses. We've also hit some quick wins across our organization. We've done silly little things like removing light bulbs from vending machines in non-guest facing areas. You may think, wow, how much impact did you have there? But when you have the number of properties we have, it adds up. That small effort alone saved us about $25,000 a year in electricity costs just by removing lighting from vending machines. We've done other small, quick wins like that, and they definitely add up when they scale. So over the last 7 years, we've invested a little over $60 million in energy efficiency. We've completed over 110 major corporate-led projects. We've saved a tremendous amount of electricity and avoided about 110,000 metric tons of carbon emissions per year. We have saved over 200 million gallons of water, and we've established recycling at all of our domestic properties and have exceeded diversion rates of 25% in many markets, including Las Vegas. As I mentioned earlier, the success of the program is really driven around the employee, and we realize that. We have a couple of guys at corporate that try to promote sustainability, but we've got 70,000 employees across the world, and getting them engaged really can make a huge difference. So we put together teams at every property. We put together training materials. We have monthly WebExes and calls, and we try to guide the program while giving them the flexibility to do what makes sense at their particular properties. But we've had obviously tremendous success. We encourage participation in the programs. These are pictures of real life employees. These are examples of campaigns that we've pushed out and people in action. We try to celebrate the fact that our employees are front and center and really moving the needle. We've also extended the program beyond the workplace to home. We give out quarterly grants for innovative ideas that bubble up through our Code Green program, and these are just pictures of some of the recent grant winners where they can use the awards and the money to promote their idea and to actually take it to fruition. So I mentioned earlier, there's a social component to sustainability, and I'm going to pause here and just talk to you a little bit about a very interesting partnership we formed with Clean the World. And Clean the World is an organization that takes recycled soap and reprocesses it and provides it to those that can't afford it and need, both domestically and abroad. And it's amazing. I came to learn that there's an amazing amount of disease that's prevented just by distribution of soap. Literally thousands of children die each day because they don't have the proper cleansing. And we've partnered with Clean the World. We donated through our Caesars Foundation $250,000 for them to establish a soap recycling facility in Las Vegas. And we've signed up all of our properties so that now they're all in the program. And after your stay at one of our properties, the housekeeping staff collects the soaps and the amenities and turns it over to Clean the World, and they process it and through their distribution network deliver it to those in need. It's a pretty amazing story. We started rather late in 2011, but we were still able to collect over 100,000 pounds of soap and amenities last year, and we hope to double that number this year. And you may again wonder, well, Eric, how does that hit the 3 Ps? Well, that's 100,000 pounds of trash that's not going to a landfill. That's saving tipping fees again, so there's an economic value that may excite the CFO. There's obviously a social value, particularly if you look at the upstream impacts of producing virgin soap. So there really is a multitude of benefits in a lot of these efforts. So sustainability at Caesars drives innovation. These are just a couple of pictures that are really grass-driven initiatives that have led to some big ideas and some things that have been promoted across the enterprise, whether it be farmers markets at properties for employees or recycling drives, or in the case of the steam turbine that I mentioned, Lou DeFeo, who's in the audience somewhere, is one of our facility directors, came up with that idea at this property. These are the types of things we promote. And I'll pause here and talk a little bit about John Houchin, who's our facility director at the Horseshoe Hammond. About 5 or 6 years ago, he decided that it was really a sin to be throwing out waste vegetable oil. Right? We produce a lot of it, obviously, in fryers, and he decided that he was going to start collecting it. So he installed a couple of storage tanks and started collecting the waste vegetable oil. And he converted one of the boilers in his warehouses to burn waste vegetable oil for heating. And he took one of his Kubotas that he uses for transportation on site and converted that. And he started using the waste vegetable oil on site for heating and for transportation. So we don't do that at every property, and this is an example of one of those property-specific opportunities. But what that idea did is it led to recycling of waste vegetable oil across our enterprise. Now, not only do we recycle it, we filter it, we extend the life of it, we collect it on the back end. It's used as feedstock, in most cases for biodiesel. And last year we collected over 600,000 gallons of waste vegetable oil. And again, that provides a triple bottom line impact. I mean, the value of that waste vegetable oil is close to $750,000 on the market. And it was a waste stream that years ago was discarded, or in some cases we had to pay to have it collected. So our results are encouraging. We're very proud of the program. We've received recognition from the EPA. We were one of the first gaming entertainment companies to join their WasteWise program, one of the first to join the Climate Leaders program and set carbon reduction goals of 10% between 2007 and 2013. And we're well on the way to hitting those, by the way. We were recognized locally by the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities as an energy leader a couple of years back. We've got Audubon certification at several of our golf courses. First in the industry to produce an annual sustainability report. We've got green meetings, training, and certification that was really a first in our industry. We've done a lot. We realize that we're not perfect, and there are a lot of things that we could be doing. And I'd like to close with a quote from our CEO. Recently said that sustainability is a journey, not a destination. And while we're simultaneously proud of what we've accomplished to this point, we're mindful that there are challenges ahead. And I think that really sums it up. We've done some good things, and we continue to do some good things, but we're just scratching the surface. And I just want to leave you with going back to the beginning, the thought that energy is key to all of this. The energy efficiency is one of the cores to our program, and if you want to get your CEO's support and attention, you may want to package energy efficiency with some other activities and develop more of a program so that you're not just talking about energy when you're meeting with your executives. So you're talking in a broader sense about a real game-changing sustainability effort that can bring a lot of value in a lot of different ways. So thank you very much.